God bless everybody. Today it is April 17th, 2024. There is a lot going on in the Middle East, and so let's go over a few of these articles and see where this might be heading. We just had an attack the other day on Israel by Iran, where they sent approximately 300 missiles, drones, all kinds of things at Israel. Israel knocked out 99% of these. I think one child was hurt, and a few structures were damaged, but in general, nothing major happened, and so that was good for Israel in the sense that they can weigh their retaliatory strike against what happened. Now, this is unprecedented to begin with for a country like Iran to launch 300 of these projectiles against Israel to begin with, and so Israel is trying to determine and has determined their retaliatory strike. They just haven't given us a time. I keep looking at right around 4:20, even though that's on the Sabbath. It might happen either the day before or after. That would then open up a new front and a new war in the Middle East. Basically, we would be at World War III at that point, because they're drawing everybody into this confrontation. Even when we knock these 99% of these missiles and drones out, it took a multi-latitude approach of multi-countries coming in and helping defend Israel as a nation. How long can they do that is an interesting process. And so yes, they did do a great job. They got these missiles out of there, and they didn't have any real damage to the system. And so this is extremely important and a very good day for Israel. But this could change quickly. Now, Israel's indicated that they have figured out their strategy of response, and but they have not given us an actual date of course, they're not going to telegraph the date of what the launch is or exactly what they're going to do in general, but they have worked a plan out, and this plan is getting ready to process. And as you can see, missiles were launched from Yemen as well as Iraq and Iran, and so they're going to probably take out initial targets where the launches came from, and then work towards infrastructure in both Yemen as well as Iraq as well as Syria, and potentially this could escalate if they hit targets in Iran itself. And if that happens, then the Iranians will have to retaliate and do a response themselves. So this came out today, and Iran's threatening Israel that nothing would remain of Israel. Iran's president vows to completely destroy Israel if it launches even the tiniest invasion. You know, it's amazing that you can launch 300 rockets, missiles, drones, and everything out there, but don't do anything, man. Just leave it as it is, tit for tat. That's all there is. Israel's not going to tolerate that. And you have to look at this situation for what it is. Netanyahu, I know, seems radical to everybody out here. I get it. But his back is against the sea, the Mediterranean Sea, okay? He's got Turkey getting ready to come in on the north against the Kurds. It's going to press everything. Hezbollah's getting ready to come in with Iran. We got and that will happen probably right after the strike or somewhere soon right after the strike from Israel on Iran, because that will then unleash the next layer of this nightmare. So Iran's threatening them. They do anything at all, any kind of invasion, any kind of we can launch stuff into your airspace and hit your targets, or try to hit your targets, but yet you can't do anything to us. And I still question some of this that happened the other day, because they telegraphed this to the United States and Israel that they were going to launch these things. They knew hours before they were going to get there that this was going to happen. Did they do that on purpose so that everybody could get under cover? You know, we've done this too. When we got hit in that base in Jordan, what did we do? We telegraphed Iran that we were going to launch this attack against them. So it took like a week, 10 days, I don't remember. And then we finally launched it and everybody got out of the way and there was no real damage. And, there's a point in time where you can't play war like this. You actually have to go destroy the enemy. You can't telegraph them and let them know what's coming constantly. I've never seen a war. I get it's information age war, but there's no one's ever watched a war go down like this. Anyway, so you got a tit for tat. Israel's getting ready to launch. If they do, which they will, they've already said they're going to, Iran will launch. That'll bring Hezbollah in. That's probably your invasionary time, maybe around April 20th here. I don't know, guys. I'm trying to work through the paradigm, through the parable of the fig tree, everything God's been telling us. We're here in this moment in time. You can see that coming, guys. You can see it coming. Just in the last 24 hours, Hezbollah's starting to ramp up their attacks on missiles and hitting Israel's bases. And then you also have to look at this. We got a lot of guys over there in green zones that are sitting ducks because Joe Biden won't protect them. Okay, they're just sitting out there waiting for missiles to come in and take them out. And I know Joey Biden it's amazing. We got hit like 150, 160 times, and then we lost 3 dudes in Jordan, and some of those attacks started to slow down. But it took 150 to 160 attacks for Joe Biden to do something about it. Now you got guys literally between Israel and Iran that are in harm's way. They're going to be stuck here in a terrible condition, and Joe Biden's not going to do anything to get them out of there. I'll guarantee it. We're going to have losses, and then we're going to have an outcry to why Joe Biden can't do his job properly and keep our peoples out of harm's way, just as he's allowing millions of people across the border to put our country in harm's way across all these cities across the nation with all this crime that's coming up. And Donald Trump's right on this. You go look at the numbers of the prison releases in these third world countries where these people are coming from, and I'll guarantee you they're shipping all their delinquents up here so that we can deal with them. Why wouldn't they? So this Mayorkas guy needs to go away, but they're not going to get rid of him because the Democrats aren't going to show any kind of weakness here that they're doing anything wrong during an election cycle, okay? They're just not going to do it. So they don't have your best intentions in mind. And I'm not trying to be political. I'm just telling you the truth. You cannot allow this kind of border incursion with these kind of people, and they're not all bad, I get it. But there's a lot of not good people. Look, if you just take 10% of them, 1%, that it might be dangerous or harmful to our communities, they can wreak havoc. Okay, on infrastructure, sleeper cells could waken up. You've been doing this for years. You've got a civil war. As April 12th came out with the movie, Civil War is coming to your country probably. I hope not, but it seems like we're on that trajectory. But in the same breath, you got the Middle East breaking out. Ukraine's getting ready to ramp up again. Russia's getting ready to start another advance there. Winter's over, guys. Everything's starting to move again. You got this problem with Taiwan and the Philippines and China up there. North Korea's starting to talk rough. You've got all kinds of stuff going on out here, guys. So just realize if you're not getting oil in your lamp, you need to. Here's another article that just came out today that shows you that Hezbollah is getting ready to come into the war. I'm telling you guys, this is Kings, 2 Kings 24, verse 1 and 2, talks about how Turkey's getting factions around Lebanon, Jordan, Golan Heights, West Bank area that are getting ready to enter this war. You got all kinds of stuff going on. And look, now you got Hezbollah starting to ramp things up. This is just, it's prophecy, guys. It's supposed to happen. There's nothing new going on out here that he hasn't already told you is coming. Okay? So just realize it. And so we build the problem, and so we decide that someday we're going to try to fix the problem. And so we've given them all this money. Iran's been given billions of billions and billions and billions of dollars to do all this havoc, create these networks of Hezbollah, Hamas, work with the Houthis in Yemen, all these different groups and things. Okay, so now we're going to get tough with them. We're going to throw a few sanctions down on them that will take years to radiate into the future. Look, sanctions are a slow-moving boat, okay? It's not going to matter. Not in this war. So just realize it. We've got a lot going on out here. The United States is about as ineffective as possible. But the other day, when we helped Israel, along with Jordan, along with a number of other countries, knock these missiles down from Iran, that puts you in a war-ready status, okay? Because you basically entered the war at that moment in time. So just realize it, and realize that this is going to break out. We're at the 20th of April, moving to 1260 days to the Feast of Trumpets of 27. I just made this comment earlier in my last video that we need to watch this cycle. So if you go to my chart on endofdaysurvival.com and you drop down to this 5th PDF and click on that, it's going to bring up my chart. When you click on that link, it brings this chart up. We are basically in this gap of time here, okay, moving into April 20th. Now I'll bring this up so you can see it. Okay, so we went through this solar eclipse. We have not had a 6 seal event yet, guys. You're going to have a large earthquake in Israel, okay? This is what you should be watching for a 6 seal event. You're in the first 4 seals right now. You're moving into the 5th seal, which are the 5th seal martyrs. After a quarter of this Middle East, or the quarter of the world, the Middle East in general, is basically consumed into war, okay? Then what do you have? You have a 6 seal event. That's what you guys should be looking at right now. That's what I'm trying to lock down, is when the 6 seal event might happen. Could happen on the 20th. This is a real problem, though, as we get into this compression of this timeline, and I'll show you why here in a second. Look, if you're walking into a 6 seal event here soon, okay, and I'm going to adjust this chart because it's a real-time chart. It's real-time happening. We're trying to figure it out as we go. I'm going to modify it as we move forward so you guys can keep up with this. And yes, I'm trying to figure it out as we go here. But you're walking into this April 20th date. Why is that important? Because it's 1260 days to the Feast of Trumpets. Okay, of 27, October 2nd. Okay, see how that works? To me, this is an extremely important time because we're into that potential 3.5 years. It's my understanding, based on the Jewish calendars, that he fulfilled the spring feast when he first came here and was crucified, that he has to fulfill the fall feast when he comes back. So if you're looking for a rapture in the spring, you don't know what you're talking about. Number one. So you need to look at the Feast of Trumpets of 3 different potential years: 27, 28, and 29. Now, I originally had built this chart to reflect the strong generation, or the fourscore generation of Israel, that all things would happen before May 14th of 2028, because that's the end of the strong generation, the 80th year between 1948 and 2028, that all things would happen prior to that. But we're compressing quickly into these 1260 days. So if this does not play out in the sense that it falls in the 27 Feast of Trumpets, then you have to look at 2 other dates. The Feast of Trumpets of 28 and the Feast of Trumpets of 29 before you play out of this Shemitah cycle, which ends on September 9th of 2029, okay, which is the fall feast, okay, Feast of Trumpets, 2029, okay. I don't want that to happen for a main reason, in the sense that if you fall out of this Feast of Trumpets in 27 and move into 28 or 29, You expand this a year or two, okay? Look, if you fall out of the Shemitah cycle, then you move into a completely different Shemitah cycle. So you have to think about that. You don't want that to happen because that means we're a long way from where we need to be. Based on where we are and what we're seeing out here, we should be in this Shemitah cycle watching Israel getting attacked by 10 nations and watching that destruction of the 10 nations soon on a sixth seal. Okay? But he's going to have to speed this up, ramp it up, or we're going to end up in a Feast of Trumpets of 28 or 29. Okay? I didn't build the chart. I built this chart, but I'm just trying to follow his information to give us the information we need to know how to bring this to your attention so you know what's coming up. I don't want to expand this out 365 or 730 days. Okay? Today, being that we're on the 17th of April, we're 1,263 days to the Feast of Trumpets of 27. And so I'm hoping that we're in this cycle here, guys, and I don't have to modify this chart to expand it out anymore. But it's possible. I mean, it's a potential that we're going to compress this. Or you could see a sixth seal event here, which could really ramp these trumpets and things up. I mean, like in quick procession to bring an Antichrist forward here, guys, because he's got control for 1,260 days. Okay, so I'm just trying to throw all this out at you, make you think about what's coming up and how that might transpire. But right now, you have a potential attack from Israel onto Iran that's going to escalate this depending on what they do and the targets they hit. They're probably going to hit the targets that went after them in this attack with the 300 drones, missiles, and things. So they're going to hit Yemen, Syria, Iraq, and potentially even in Iran. As Iran states, if they attack inside Iran itself, that's going to escalate. And then this could go supernova nuclear, which means that's why I think the sixth seal is there to stop it. Because the Lord will set his feet on the Mount of Olives, split that place in half, allow the remnant to escape while the 2/3 are perishing in Jerusalem and Israel so that we can start tribulation into the 1,260 days. So God bless everybody. Keep your eye on this stuff. Things are moving quickly. The markets are moving quickly. Everything's moving quickly. And as you move into this Feast of Trumpets, you're going to accelerate, even if it's another year or two out. This is going to keep accelerating because you're compressing constantly into this end of this Shemitah cycle. So that's something you got to keep your eye on, is the Shemitah cycles and how they affect us. And all things will play out within a Shemitah cycle, at least in my opinion. So let's see how this all turns out, guys. Keep your eye on things. Get your oil in your lamp. Get ready. This is going to break soon. Israel's going to get attacked again. That one could be bad after this retaliatory strike from Iran, which could bring in your proxies called Hezbollah and all these other groups, which would be then your invasionary process. Potentially Isaac Herzog could be captured on that day. I'm not saying that will happen, but that's how it happened in the first siege prior. And so we could potentially see that president captured and the city, Jerusalem, and this country under total siege in the next few weeks. So God bless. Have a great day.